Jerry, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, Brian.
All right, where in the world are you? You don't look like you're in a small space.
I'm not in a small space. I'm in Puyallup, Washington, at the Washington Sportsman Show at the State Fair.
Nice,
And
nice.
it is a huge show.
All right, well, I see behind you a sign that says Phantom Game Calls. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I'm here. I make game calls, and I am here to sell game calls to people. So
Awesome. Nice. So what got you into making game calls?
oh gosh, I've hunted since I was 7 or 8, and I've always used calls for squirrels, for deer, for elk, for turkey, and I've done woodworking most of my life, and the two finally fell together. That it's like I used to make my own turkey calls as a kid, and people liked them. It's like, where did you get that? And it's like, I made them. So I'd have to make one for, a family member or a friend. And now it's grown into a business.
Nice. Well, folks, I can tell you, I use some of his elk cow calls, and it brings them in. These are all custom calls, handmade, one-offs. Every single piece is different based on the materials he used. So, in fact, Jerry, tell us a little bit about the materials you use, because I know my elk call is a little different than some of the others.
Well, on the elk calls, mostly wood. Wood has great tonal qualities. The harder the wood, usually the better your tones are. Just like with instruments, musical instruments. A lot of those will have African blackwood, which is a very hard wood. So you take this right here. This is Jatoba. It's a Brazilian cherry, and it's a very hard wood. It's a lot harder than American cherry that we have here. Some of the woods are dyed, Hadouk. We've got camouflage calls. We've got teak. So there's a variety of different woods. Their wood is beautiful, the grain plus the tonal qualities, easy to work with. We also have acrylics. Nice. I think this is what you've seen a lot of. They tend to call good. They're usually very loud.
Okay. So what other species? You got duck calls, you got elk calls?
Tons of elk calls, tons of duck calls, just getting started getting those up. We have turkey calls.
Oh yeah, nice box calls.
Yep, and that's box calls. They're not out yet. They'll be out on display a little bit later. Those are slate calls. And we've got crow calls to go with the turkey calls, more slate calls, and then a trough call. And this works a lot like the slate calls, but it's a lot louder. Okay. And then the little, can you see that? Little auto yelpers?
Yeah, absolutely.
These are little push button calls. A lot of people mount those onto the barrels of their shotgun, so they don't have to move as much or fiddle with it and dig it out of their pocket. But
very cool.
We've got, even have chucker calls.
Nice. We got a lot of chucker here in Central Washington, so I may have to pick one up in Puyallup. Puyallup's about a 2-hour drive for me. I'm in Central Washington. I'd like to maybe come to the show and help you out and talk with you a bit. You're down in California. You're down in California, so you made a long drive.
Yes, and it was snowing here this morning. Kind of woke up to a surprise.
Oh my goodness. So you're in Puyallup. What other shows are you planning on going to for these outdoor shows?
There's the Pacific Northwest show, which is a week after this show. I believe it's the 15th through the 19th. And then there's the Redmond show.
Redmond, Oregon.
Yes, the Central Oregon Sportsman Show.
Yeah. Well, I may have to try to attend that one as well. We'll see what the weather does and what my family plans are. That's awesome. So, Jerry, you came up and hunted elk with me the last 2 years. What do you think of Washington and the Cascade Mountains?
I love it. I love it. They're not as high as some of the mountains I hunt, but still the same challenge. They're steep.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we had some distractions last year. There was a lot of machinery that had moved in, and it's a spike only unit where I hunt, and I talked to you into a big bull area, and I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Well, the last day of the season, I had a big bull barking at me, and I actually followed him all the way up the mountain and found their route. But it was the last day.
Yeah.
Given another day, I think he would have been on the ground.
Let's talk about other states you've hunted. Where else have you hunted elk? Because I'm primarily just a Washington hunter.
Utah. I like to spend my bow season in Utah. Really nice area. It's up on the north slope. I usually see tons of elk. It's a either sex hunt or any elk
Wow,
hunt,
nice.
I should say. And it's right in the middle of them coming into rut. So you get a little preseason and a little full season rut. So they're
Nice.
usually pretty vocal. This last year, I think it was messed up everywhere. I think, from hearing the hunters talk, the elk were almost like a month late coming into season.
Yeah, and both Hush and Born and Raised said the same thing in the last 2 weeks when their videos released, that the rut was really different this year, and it was tough hunting.
Yes.
Yeah.
The elk were pretty quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think there were a couple of videos that leaked out about you when you were in Utah. You had some critters walking through camp.
Oh, the moose. The year before it was actually elk the day before season. And this last year, moose were sneaking up through camp, hiding behind my clothesline and sticking their heads through.
So we know who to call and where to go if we get drawn for a Utah moose.
Yes.
Nice.
I almost see more moose there than I do elk.
Wow, that's wild. Very cool. So what's your favorite area or favorite way to get into a hunting area? By foot, by bike? What do you prefer?
Both. I use the bike in conjunction with walking. I like to stage my bike and hike through, and I can take my bike back to my truck, so I'm not having to double the distance. Or I'll just ride in with the bike. The bike is so quiet, and it's amazing how the animals react to the bike. I've ridden up on antelope they've actually come back out into the field to me on the bike. I've ridden up on bear. I've ridden up on elk. I've ridden up on moose. And it's like they don't realize you're a person.
Nice.
Until you put your feet down on the ground. Then they know exactly what you are.
Right. Yep. Which is the primary reason that I started Fat Bike Hunter Facebook group, because it's just fun to share ideas and just support each other. I'm on year 36 riding my bike around, but I know it's a quiet, stealthy, and healthy way to hunt. That's for sure. Yep. Nice. So what's one tool, one item, hunting purchase that you've made that if you forgot it at home, it would probably mentally ruin your hunt? Do you have anything that a certain item that you just really rely on when you're out hunting?
Well, besides a weapon?
Yeah, that would be a game changer, right?
Oh, definitely. Gosh, you've fallen into a bag of tricks, from your clothing to your boots to your bike, your backpack. Any of those items would ruin my day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I usually have multiple boots, but to wear my favorite boots that are nice and warm would probably, with the terrain we hunt and the elevation we hunt, you'd be miserable.
Yeah. I think mine's the Zoleo, a satellite communicator. It's just a a little thing that I hang on my backpack that allows me to, when I'm in the wilderness without cell phone service, I can text my family, and if something happens, I can hit SOS. When I'm out for a couple days up hunting, I get a little lonely from missing my family, and I'm sure a lot of other hunters are that way. And so I really rely on text messages and maybe carry a photo of my boys and wife. So I don't know, I'm a softie, I guess.
Well, the places we hunt is remote. It may not be these multi-days backpacking where you're 20 miles in before you even start your hunt. But even being a mile off the road, things can happen, and they can happen quickly. So
Yeah, especially archery. I had a buddy in Oregon or Idaho fall, and his broadhead cut his leg, and
oh,
that's no fun. That's
yeah,
no fun.
that's my biggest worry out by myself.
Right. All right. Well, Jerry, thanks for taking the time. I'm going to let you get back to your Phantom Game Calls booth and get it set up. And folks, if you head down to Puyallup, Washington, or you're in the area, definitely stop by the booth. And I'm actually going to drive over and help him Saturday. What is that? The 4th of February. And yeah, just thanks for your time, Jerry.
Thanks. Come visit me. I'm in booth 153.
All right.
All right. See you soon,
later.
Brian.
See ya.